is Mayor live from New York. And tonight, we have a big change. Maybe a little change that's a big change. Or maybe a big change that's a little change. Well, however you want to describe it, this is what happens when you get pounded and pounded and pounded with evidence of corruption. And you have a media that denies it, and you think you're in a bubble where you're protected, and no matter what, whether you took a $3.5 million bribe from a Russian crook or a $8.5 million bribe from a Ukrainian crook or a $31 million bribe from Chinese communists, or you had cocaine in the White House and said, oh, nobody knows about this cocaine, even though you have one of the biggest cocaine users living in the White House. Whether you did a $3.2 million money laundering transaction with your name on it that I have sitting right here, for which you could have been prosecuted 3 years ago, whether you go buy a gun, a drug addict, buy on the form, which is a 2-year felony, possess it, which is a 10-year felony, and then go ahead and drive an automobile at 170 miles an hour and sport around in a car smoking your crack pipe while you're driving, putting the lives of children and everyone else in jeopardy. When you can get away with all of that, you think you can get away with anything, right? I think it's catching up on him now. I think the cancer that is corruption has now infected not only the Biden administration, and not only the Biden government, but the institutions of the American government. They've corrupted the FBI. They've corrupted the IRS. I just ask, is there anyone in Washington? Is there anyone in Washington that can do what this man did many, many years ago? Would you please take a look at what I have there on the camera, right over there on the camera. Just take a look. Is there anyone who loves America as much as this man loved America? The man I'm showing you was a World War II decorated pilot. He was a hero in the war. I guess when you put your life at risk for the country, you'll put anything at risk for the country. He ran for a senator from the state of Arizona and was elected. He ran for president of the United States and was maligned unfairly and viciously. Lyndon Johnson made it appear as if he desired to use atomic weapons to destroy the world. And probably one of the first of the truly disgusting, politically dishonest ads from a man that Joe Biden actually makes look honest, which is a trick with Lyndon. This is a man who left the Senate, came back to the Senate, and happened to be there just at a time when his place in history would be totally assured, when he was the one who had the courage, as a close friend of Richard Nixon, and as the probably most respected man in the Republican Party, maybe one of the most respected men in Washington. It is well known that John F. Kennedy, who before he was assassinated thought he might run against Barry Goldwater, had a very high personal regard for him. And they were friends. And they would have run against each other, and Kennedy probably would have won. But they would have remained friends. It was a different era. And both of them had something in common. They both were war heroes. One was a Republican, one was a Democrat. They both put their lives at risk for their country. They both were extraordinarily dedicated Republicans and Democrats. But believe me, whatever else you think of John Kennedy or whatever else you think of Barry Goldwater, either one of them would have gone to a member of their party who was disgracing the country and say, President Nixon, it's time to leave. Now, where is that Democrat? Where is he? I can go through all this evidence and I can show you 100 times over that the man occupying the White House is a career criminal. He's been taking bribes since, I don't know, I think before he was a senator, certainly at the very beginning. They were cheap little bribes with his cheap little brother, kind of like just little grifters. And then they got in the big time. They started shaking people down. You heard the language of Hunter. When they shake people down, they sound like gangsters, right? You don't know, because the press doesn't tell you, that the father arranged it so that Hunter was partners with Whitey Bulger's nephew. Oh, yeah, we got like real organized crime. He arranged it so that he worked for one of the biggest organized criminals in Ukraine and took money from an organized criminal in Romania and took money from an organized criminal in China. Somebody has to have the courage to go in and tell them it's over. For the good of the country, please don't let us go through the rest of this. I know what comes next. I know it because I'm the first to have developed it. I sit here in my heart of hearts feeling fully vindicated. You will find out over time that I am fully vindicated. Already, you probably know 3/4 of it. I was the first one to bring to light Joe Biden's criminality, and I was the first one to bring to light with Bob Costello the hard drive. For that, I've paid a big price, but I've gained a great reward. I'm satisfied with what I did for my country. And whatever they do doesn't bother me, because they're not people who love this country. You cannot possibly sit in Washington today, if you know Joe Biden and you're an American and you're a member of the Democrat Party at a high level, and not put the country first and get them out. We can't have this crook in the White House any longer. Now, just in case you have any doubt, let's just take a look at how this time immemorial story and lie has now been proven to be a lie, and a big lie, and a major lie, and one that basically proves without any doubt that this man is criminal. Before we get to that, though, I should tell you that Hunter is making out okay. Hunter has sold a painting. He sold a painting to this man here. Now, if you are a totally talentless painter, if you paint jerky crap, go to this guy, because he'll sell it for you for $300,000 and $400,000. Joe has been selling them for $500,000. Oh yeah, because he's the Van Gogh of our day, right? That's the crook who sells it for him, the fraudster who sells it for him, and grabs that kind of money, for this. His name is Georges Burgess. Make sure you don't buy any crap from him, all right? Take a good look at him. See, that's good old George. He sells Hunter's crap for 300, 400, 500, whatever bucks he can get. And basically, he's sort of the middleman, so that this rich woman, very rich woman, can buy a painting. And they made her, President Biden made her, he buys the painting from Hunter, and President Biden made her commission for the preservation of America's heritage abroad, because she has a deep background in American heritage, which I couldn't find, but I'm sure it is very well documented somewhere. Or is it that her husband and she are extremely rich investors and contributors to the Bidens, and she forked up $350, and she got on a commission. Come on, that's nothing based on the 31 million he got from China. He's going to sell out to China. He's going to sell out to Elizabeth Hirsch Naftali, the woman here who bought the shitty painting and became a commissioner of something she knows nothing about, just like Hunter got millions to go on a board for something he knew nothing about. This is what happens in a corrupt administration, an entirely and completely corrupt administration. Now, we do want to just play this. Because I'm not going to say much. I'm just going to play this for you. This is, let's see. Let's see. It looks like I don't have that. So I'm going to say, I'll save this for the end, and we'll do this later. And we'll point out to you that Air Force One steps have been shortened for Joe, and that a group of Harvard professors have come up with a brilliant idea that they've given to President Biden. And the Harvard professors say, this is Mark Tushnet, and then another one from San Francisco State, that if the Supreme Court is gravely mistaken in their interpretation of the Constitution, Biden should follow an alternative interpretation. Now, Biden wouldn't know this because he failed out of law school and had to go back based on a plagiarized note that he wrote. But that was decided about 1800 by John Marshall in Marbury versus Madison. Joe, I don't know how to tell you this, but the Supreme Court decides constitutionality, not you. And they may say Harvard and San Francisco University, but I don't even know why people pay Harvard. That would be entirely unconstitutional. Entirely, absolutely unconstitutional. The Supreme Court decides the constitutionality of a law, not the president. Everybody in America knows that when we used to teach history and civics. Nowadays, since the communists have control of the teachers union, I'm not sure everyone learns that, but that's, and in case you want any, here's a great decision, Mississippi versus Johnson. Joe, it led to the impeachment of President Johnson, not Lyndon, Andrew. I don't expect you would know who he was. The IQ was very low before the brains went completely. Well, I have a guest tonight who is a good friend. I'm going to ask her to get set up while I tell you one more story, okay? I'm going to tell you one story as she gets all set up. And then we'll explain what it's about. You see that couple right there? Nice young couple, right? Sit down. See that couple right there? Can we show them? Okay, well, this couple met. You know how people meet in strange ways? This couple met, and they're married. They're happily married. She's a Brazilian woman, and he mugged her in the streets. He knocked her down. He mugged her. He was walking down the street. He jumped her. He mugged her. She took a look at him, and it was love at first sight. When I first saw her photo on the phone, I said to myself, what a beautiful brunette. You don't see a brunette like that every day. Fortunately for him, he already had her number. He had stolen it. He called her up. He explained what happened. They went out. They fell in love and they got married. Now, I have heard of all kinds of ways people meet. I've performed over 200 weddings. I've never heard of a woman marrying the guy who mugged her.
Well,
what
Mayor,
do you think, Mike? What do you think?
Mayor,
I know you're looking to get married.
I mean, I'm looking for a woman to just come mug me, you know, and perhaps I'm not mugging any women here in New York City because they'll throw me in jail. But
you're a law enforcement person.
That's right. But if a beautiful woman wants to come mug me, please, ladies, I entice you to. I will not press charges against you.
Well, it wouldn't do any good.
Of course, that's right.
Look, ladies, he's not telling you anything. You know, he's like giving you ice and winter here.
Right.
So this is Millie Weaver, Millennial Millie, who is a very, very well-known podcaster for some time on politics and social issues and all kinds of things. But she and her husband Gavin have developed together an extraordinary, let's at this point call it a device that does a couple of things. Two things quickly. It saves you money and it protects your privacy, which is taken from you every night. Every night you put your television on, just about, if you have the wrong service, because they're trying to steal everything from you so they can sell everything to you.
Right. It is not even just our TVs. It's our smart devices. It's our electronics. But yeah, it's amazing how much data they collect on every one of us and what that data is actually used for. Some people think, oh, they're just surveilling me, spying on me so that they can put an ad in my phone on my social media feed that, you know, maybe they think I want to see. When the reality is it goes much farther than that. They collect that data, they put predictive analytics together, and they run risk assessments on people, and they use it in order to predict election outcomes. You know, it was actually the Obama campaign that revolutionized a lot of this data harvesting and data analytics surrounding elections. Where they would actually take all the voter roll data out there, they would match it up with the polling data and the voter registration data, and then they would go and get all of the social media data out there available that they can purchase and get their hands on. And then each voter, they would actually have like thousands of data set points, behaviorally modeling each voter out. And they bragged that they knew every single one of the 69 million people that voted for Obama. So this idea of having privacy when it comes to how you're casting your vote, it's really kind of a myth now, because we're all on these devices that literally they're listening to what we're saying. They're watching our posts. They're watching things that we like and interact with. They're watching our pupils, and they're really analyzing us like we're some kind of animals on National Geographic.
How do they accomplish that? How do they accomplish that if you apply for a certain service in order to get your television channels and your premium channels and all that?
Right. So most people don't realize that when they're watching their TV's actually watching them back. They don't realize that data is actually being sold to other companies. And, you know, you can kind of tell a lot from what somebody watches. If you're seeing that somebody's constantly watching CNN every night, you can probably put that into the other data you have on their social media footprints. And you can tell that within a certain degree of probability, that person's going to vote a certain way.
So if somebody's watching CNN or MSNBC all the time, they're probably going to vote for Biden. If they're watching Fox, they're watching Newsmax, they're watching OAN all the time and going back and forth between them, they're probably going to go for Trump.
And then they know who are the people that are likely to be the swing or flip voters. And then what they can do is they can then target them with psychological campaigns and political messaging on social media and different platforms through advertisement campaigns or even just posts. And that's how they try to shift and influence election outcomes.
Yeah, just by knowing what you watch, or they could tell people who are not particularly interested in politics.
Exactly.
And they never watch a CNN or Newsmax or any news program. They're watching baseball all the time, or they're watching shows where you buy jewelry.
Right. And not only that, but I mean, if you watched the movie 2000 Mules with Dinesh D'Souza, where they were showing how they went and purchased some of that cell phone geolocation tracking data where they could ping the location of the individuals. They were able to see who these mules were that were visiting these drop drop boxes where they drop the ballots off. Well, these tech companies have real lifetime access to all of that data. They know on election day who's already voted, who hasn't. They already have predictively analyzed how many votes they need to stuff in individual counties or areas in order to get the election outcome they need. So really, by us giving them all of our data, we are giving them the master blueprint on how to basically control us and control the population. So the idea behind QUX and why we created QUX was to create another option in electronics that do not spy on you, do not collect data, don't sell data. It doesn't exploit your privacy. On QUX, people have privacy again. And we hear so many conservatives, Rudy, they talk about the First Amendment, they talk about the Second Amendment. These things are crucial, right? But we also have to remember that we need to protect our right to privacy. That's so important that we protect our right to privacy in this day and age. And so many people aren't doing that.
Yeah. And this, you collect QUX, quantum user experience, right?
Yes.
Collects no data to be used for the purpose of framing you, trying to figure out who you are. Or,
Right. So we have patent pendings on having no data loggers in our systems, but we also are, we're very, very much advocates on privacy, and we're advocates on being free speech and anti-censorship. So nobody has to get banned or censored or removed. We're still seeing on various social media platforms that claimed that they were going to be free speech now. We're still seeing people being banned and suspended. QUX is a company that was created to combat the censorship.
Yeah, Zuckerman
issues.
started that new thing, and the first thing he did is start banning people.
Exactly, right?
I mean, it was almost as if he started it to ban people.
Right. They're like, oh, we're going to...
I haven't been able to ban anybody in a while. Let me see who I can ban.
Right. The leftists want to ban everyone. They're like, you're not banning enough people. We need to go make a new platform where we could ban even more people, right?
And now, about the practical part. So you can get virtually everything on this platform, right? And you can get all the entertainment stations, all the movie channels, the sports, the news.
Yes. So it's right now QUX is offering a TV box that's private, encrypted, secure, that you can plug into your television, and everything you watch through that TV box will remain private, encrypted, secure.
So with QUX, which I have, I get OAN.
That's right.
With the service I had in New York, which I paid a fortune for, I did not get QAN because they kicked QAN off.
OAN, yes.
What am I saying? OAN. I'm thinking QUX.
Yeah.
OAN off because it was conservative.
Right, and that's happening.
And I happen to like listening to OAN, but I wasn't allowed. Wasn't allowed to. My right to know was impeded because they decided it was too conservative.
Right.
Well, you don't decide that. You put it on, and you have CNN, which I can ignore if I want, or MSNBC, or those communist stations on as well.
So QUX lets people curate and pick their own experience. QX is not in the business of telling people what they can and can't watch like these other platforms are. You can watch what you feel comfortable, what you want to watch on QX, as well as you can create profiles for your kids and ensure that they're only ever going to see content that's rated for their age rating. So there's no need to ban or censor any type of content on there. It's just categorized. So not only that, but you can get all the cable TV channels as well. So you can cut your cable bill, and literally QX TV subscriptions are half of what you would be paying for cable TV. And you don't have to worry about being spied on or surveilled or giving your data away.
So the box is $199, this big, right? About this big?
Mm-hmm.
About this big. You take the box and you take the HDMI cord that you give them, right? And you plug it into the back of the TV, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then you plug the box into, you have a cord for power. You plug it into the power.
Right.
And then you put it on.
And then you put it on. You just select the input on your TV, and then boom, there it is. And
set up an account?
Yep, you set up your account. You can create different profiles one for maybe you, one for your spouse, one for your
kids, one for your friends, whatever.
Right. Yeah, you can create as many profiles.
Then, like you can do on a, you can pick out your favorite news shows. You can pick out your favorite sports shows. You can pick out your favorite entertainment shows. You can get 300 well, there are 3 different. So let's get to the. So that's about what. Give us a sense of that price compared to your competitors of 199.
Okay, so I want to kind of make clear and distinguish. There's different things going on inside QX. So QX has something called the Portal Universe, which is similar to social media television, where anyone could create their own portals, which is where they can put videos, live streaming, they can sell products, music, etc. Now, we also have QX TV, and on the QX TV portion, you can actually subscribe and get all your favorite cable television channels, as well as like OAN, Newsmax, etc., and more. I mean, there's even HBO Showtime options, and you can watch all that with knowing that you're having true privacy. And what's cool about it is we can actually add in new cable TV channels, which who knows? You never know. Some of these, people who have been glass ceilinged or gate kept out of that industry are going to have that opportunity to make TV channels. But really, I think what's cool here is you can actually save a lot of money because we are offering these cable TV packages literally as low as $19.99 a month. Our mid-tier, the 45 plan, which we like to call the Trump 45 plan, is probably the most popular plan. And on it, you can get OAN, Newsmax, Fox News, and a bunch of other like really good premium channels. And then our highest ultimate package, which is like all 333 plus channels, including HBO, Showtime, Stars, and there's multiple of these different things too. So you'll have like 14 different HBOs or 20 something different Stars accounts. That one's $14.99.
Which one do you have to get my show?
Sorry, $14.99. Yeah.
$14.99.
Yeah, for the ultimate, for everything.
And I wanted to sorry to cut you off, but I want our viewers to know that we have it playing right now on the big screen, and maybe I'll turn the camera around to show it. But Millie, before we continue, we're going to keep talking about this. People are very excited by this. Where can they go to get this? Is it QUX.TV? That's right.
So QUX.TV. You can go check it out there. Also, you can check it out at QUXnow.com. But yeah, you can go check out all the different packages that might interest you. You can find out more about QUX. We also just launched our QUX TV app in the Apple App Store, so you can actually download
which I just downloaded.
Yeah, he just downloaded it today.
I've got it on my cell phone. Now, if you got that on your cell phone and you got WABCRadio.com, you can listen to me all the time. So
exactly.
Which package do they need to get my 8 o'clock show every night that I do?
Okay, so
live.
So the one we have live right now on the TV is coming through your portal, right? So that's in the Portal Universe. So you guys are going to want to get the QX TV box. That's going to really guarantee your privacy and security. You can buy and shop on there. It's the best way you can support creators like me or people like Rudy, and getting on there, seeing those portals, engaging in the live chats. It's really awesome. We're building a community out here, a community where we can't be canceled, where our content can't just disappear off the internet. And then you can
if I say something like the vaccines didn't work to prevent COVID, they won't take me off.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you could say whatever you want to say.
Will they not? Will you not take me off because it's true, or because the other people take me off even if it's true?
You are not going to be banned or removed from QUX unless there's literally a court warrant for your removal, unless you are committing a crime. Like, obviously, there can't be like child pornography. There can't be.
Of course not. I mean, there are
content, but free speech.
What are we, Hunter
speech
Biden? Come on, stop it now. We would never do that.
Right. Only the Bidens would do
you
something
cut off,
like that.
I mean, unlike the Democrats who voted to cut off Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The other day, you wouldn't cut off Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Absolutely not.
if he wanted to talk about vaccines, even if you agreed or disagreed with his position on vaccine. You think people should have a right to know that?
QX is a company that is free speech absolutist. So all speech is allowed on QX. And really, QX has went through many different hurdles in order to make it so that's even possible. Many people don't realize that many of these social media platforms, they don't really truly have say over their speech and their user speech because they're beholden to the app stores. They're beholden to the payment processors. So QX actually created its own unique payment processor, which is called QUX Pay, which uses tokens. Okay. It's not anything like Bitcoin or anything. It's just basically tokens inside of the network. You cash it out to cash. It's really simple.
So now if they want to sign up or learn more about it,
right,
they go to QUX.TV.
Right.
And then there was another one you said.
Or QUXnow.com. And remember, you guys can get a discount now using Rudy's promo code.
QUX now?
Yeah.
Like that?
Okay.
And the promo code is Rudy. Is that right?
Yeah.
The promo code is Rudy.
That is the promo code.
Yes.
And we have an awesome commercial. Maybe we play this short clip.
Let me. Can I show what I did here? I mean, I worked on this here. This is a work of art. Here you go. Everybody see that now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There it is.
Okay.
QAX TV Rudy. I see it. QAX now. /Rudy. There you go. Go to that, and you have packages from $14 to $114. So
right.
you get
or $19.99.
Oh, $19.99. Yes. $45. That's the Trump package for $45.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Can we put like 3 or 4 more channels in for $47?
So what people
Can we
need
do like
to do
$47 one with 2 or 3 more channels?
They'll need to go to QUX.TV, and when they go to check out, they're going to put in Rudy as the coupon code, as the promo code. That's how you're going to be able to redeem the discount. So go to QX.TV and put in coupon code or promo code Rudy when you're checking out. So that's how you do it. Yeah.
See those prices? Come on. You can't beat those. So Ted, I'm going to have you do it. Or Mike, how much more, let's say in New York, would it be for any one of these? This is like the beginning service, medium service, full service.
Well, Mayor, I know I personally have Spectrum, and if you want internet and basic TV, it's probably about $70 a month. But obviously QX doesn't offer internet. You have to get your own internet. But I know Verizon, the total package with every channel is probably about $250 a month. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there paying upwards $200, even $300 a month for their cable television costs. And oftentimes they want to lock you into like 2 to 3 year agreements, and then they have all these added on fees, and it's really kind of a racket what they're doing there.
Right. And then when you try to leave Verizon or Spectrum, they give you a 2-year discount, and then 2 years later they raise it back to the price you were paying. So they try to keep you. That's how they try to keep you in.
Okay, so let's try.
And QX doesn't do any of that. Yeah. It's just price is what it is.
So let's go to QUX.TV/Rudy and check it out and get one. And then you'll also be able to get me all the time up there, and we can have fun.
There you go.
They'd rather have you, I think.
Right. Well, you can get my content on your QX box too.
So now let's go to our commercial. And thank you, Millie. Thank you very, very much. And thank Gavin.
Yes. Thank you, Rudy.
Thank you.
The year is 2022. Cancel culture is the new normal. Online freedom as we know it has ended. Digital stockades are here. All activity is monitored, stored, and predictively analyzed by a technological cartel. We're being converted into a digital resource, a digital currency, to be farmed for metadata and loaded into a computerized combine, blockchained to a social engineering operating system. However, it doesn't have to be this way. Be part of a new technological revolution. Right now, 1,000 test pilots have launched themselves into a new digital frontier, a private network outside of big tech control. New technology with state-of-the-art digital engagement and never-done-before security and privacy features that are now operational. With Quick's digital engagement, entertainment, communication, and commercial exchange will never be the same. We are QUX. Quicks. Advanced pre-release sales are limited to 3,000. Order now by visiting quicks.tv. Get yours now before they sell out. Be part of a brand new online experience that you control.
This is Rudy Giuliani back with you. I hope you enjoyed that ad. I hope you listen to what Millie had to say. I think it makes an awful lot of sense. Privacy, save money. You can communicate yourself with it if you get the passion to do it, like I do. You can get me, and when I say you can get me, it means you can get people like me. We're not going to be shut out. You know, it's like at the height of the audience that I had in 2020, and really, I think to stop me from conveying the information you're now getting about the biggest crook in the history of the White House, they took me off YouTube. I had over, I think it was the day that I had an audience of 1 million something, 1.2 million. It was really, and look, I wasn't even the worst. They put me back, took me off again, put me back, took me off again, put me back. But it's always like you're on, who knows? Who knows? Once they took off podcasts a year ago, I think I criticized Fauci. In America, I can't criticize Fauci. What the hell is he, a king? Even if he was a king, you should be able to criticize him. Well, here's a new development. First son Hunter Biden's legal team was accused of pulling a dirty trick late Tuesday to block the release of damning evidence ahead of his expected guilty plea to federal charges. Those are the slap on the wrist misdemeanor charges, and they are deferring the felony charges. In other words, the fix. The drama began in the morning when the House Ways and Means Committee filed an amicus brief to Delaware U.S. District Judge Mary Ellen Norica, arguing that the 53-year-old had benefited from political interference, which calls into question the propriety of the investigation into alleged crimes, including money laundering, felony tax evasion, and failure to register as a foreign agent. Remember, the agents testified that what they wanted to charge was blocked by the Justice Department because the case was fixed from on high. So basically, what the filing says is the judge has to consider that corruption and whether to take this plea, which is a favor. This is a very unusual plea. This man's going to get a deferred prosecution. Adults basically never get adult prosecutions. Adult prosecutions are meant for minor crimes by juveniles so that it isn't on their record in the future because a deferred prosecution, which isn't on their record, and therefore they can go on with their life. Well, this guy, is not a juvenile, and he is a aggravated criminal, not just a plain or ordinary criminal. And there's nothing in his record that suggests he's entitled to a break. I mean, my God, he's gotten so many breaks, it's ridiculous. He's been committing crime after crime after crime after crime after crime, sticking it in our face. His father, who's the biggest criminal to invade the White House, brings him out on the lawn. So we got to watch him. We got to watch this criminal all the time. And then, they misplaced their drugs in the White House just to stick it up our you-know-what. This is ridiculous. Of course, this plea shouldn't be taken. Of course not. In fact, this whole judicial thing should be looked over. The cases against Trump should be dismissed. How can this Justice Department bring these cases? Isn't it too corrupt? Isn't the Justice Department too corrupt to be carrying on prosecutions of the political opponent of the crookedest president of the United States? You know, history's going to look at this. History's going to look at this like we're some kind of fascist regime. The crooked president, through his crooked attorney general, prosecutes his opponent, who's ahead of him right now by 5 points in every poll. Where does that happen? Venezuela. That happens in America. I would think a court has discretion under the general due process and equal protection clause to throw the case out because it's corrupt. And there's no question. Jack Smith isn't conducting a real investigation.
Well, Mayor, I just got another update from what you were just reading. Hunter Biden's lawyer faces possible sanctions after accusations of lying in a criminal tax case, and they have until 9 p.m. tonight to respond.
And what are the sanctions
Which
for?
lawyer? Which lawyer?
The lawyer is doesn't say. The sanctions, I will find out for you. Let me get back to you real quickly.
I don't think it's going to be Abby Lowell, but I'm just thinking, please be Abby Lowell. Please be Abby Lowell. Please be Abby Lowell.
You don't like Abby Lowell? Well, if it isn't that Washington lawyer, it'd be some other Washington
Another
lawyer.
one, right? Plug and replace.
Yeah, I mean, the Washington bar is quite. Oh well. So, you know, yesterday there was a headline that says Ukraine doesn't have enough money to buy arms, and I asked the question, what do they do with the money? Then I went back and I found in my earlier podcast that I was going through with Millie, a podcast I did way back in which during the Obama administration, there was $3 billion in Ukrainian money missing. And the Obama administration asked the Ukrainian government not to check. They didn't want to check because a lot of that money was going to come back to their donors, to not-for-profits, some of them run by people like Soros. This just has to stop. They have defiled our government. Starting with Obama, this has become not a government, but a corrupt political organization. If you're going to analogize it to anything, you'd analogize it to a communist or a fascist or a Nazi government. And it just has to stop. And somebody has to have the courage, like Barry Goldwater, to come forward and say, Biden, get the hell out. You've done enough damage to our country. Too many people killed. Too much disgrace. Too many things we're going to have to overcome in the future if we want people to restore their faith in America as having a valid criminal justice system. You don't have a valid criminal justice system when you're pursuing your opponent for charges that make no sense, that nobody can even figure out. And there are plenty of charges people can figure out. It's called cold, hard cash, and it's called bribery. It's called selling out your country. It's called doing whatever China wants. It's called doing whatever Zelensky wants because he's got you so bad, Joe. I mean, don't you realize the implication of this, my friends? It isn't just any country. It's the country that he's paying for the war. And it's not enough because Ukraine ran out of money. Somehow we didn't give them enough money to buy arms. Now, that presumes they used all that money to buy arms. We have no idea because Biden refused to have an inspector general. Why would he refuse to have an inspector general? You know the answer to these questions. I don't even know why I asked them. These answers for me were obvious 4 years ago when I put out the first evidence of Biden's major bribes in the Ukraine. They were obvious to me when I snuck into the Ukraine and videotaped the people who were ready to come forward and testify. the committee is just telling you about these people. We've got, the prosecutor they're talking about who was fired. You go to my third podcast and you can listen to him tell you about how Biden bribed the president of Ukraine. He testified to it, Mr. Shokin. You make a decision whether he's telling the truth. He would then have to be about the 15th person lying. Or you can listen to Mr. Lutsenko, who was the prosecutor that Joe Biden approved, who dropped the case, fixed it, as well as one involving Soros. They're not going to want that to come out. Well, just getting to another subject where Biden has completely destroyed our country. Texas has seized more than 422 million doses of fentanyl since 2021. That's more than enough. 422 million doses of fentanyl, which is enough to kill every American. Every American. The border is so hot right now that in the last 2 weeks, 69 people died because they were sent across the border by the cartels, and they died of heat prostration. And of course, the cartels don't care because they collect the money before the person dies. That's what we're dealing with at the border. We don't control it. Remember, please get this in your head. Biden has given up our borders. And as a result of that, 100,000 people died of fentanyl last year, on which the Chinese government, his patron, made billions. How much longer, Ted, do we accept this? I mean, I'm telling people this, but nobody's doing anything about it.
Mayor, we've got to see articles of impeachment.
Well, there's some urgency to it now because it's getting to be absurd. I mean, the evidence is a mile high. And meanwhile, he's a terrible president.
I mean, take out the corruption and the lies and all of that. He's just a bad president. He's got terror. He's a career.
Could be the worst.
He may be the worst. I think when you combine his just stupidity with his ineptitude.
So if we were to ask, what's the conclusion of the war in Ukraine? What's the answer? We don't know. Isn't this exactly what Colin Powell told us 25 years ago we should never do again? Get into an endless war? And if we don't keep giving them the money, they're going to say they can't win the war. Yet we don't know if they're spending the money on the arms or not and how much they are, because Biden, because he's compromised by them, can't appoint an inspector general. Zelensky could bury him. Zelensky has the material, considerably more than I do, and probably even more than the House, to bury him. It's just very, very sad that our country has to go through this. Meanwhile, we've got a case in New York, right out in Massapequa and Gilgo Beach, that is fascinating the world. It's international news. This Gilgo Beach killer, Rex Howerman, his house is being ripped apart. They found some kind of a major sealed off room in it that he had built. Originally, they thought it was a soundproof room. Turns out it was a room for him to store things, like 200 plus guns.
300
plus guns. And the situation is getting to the point now where they're about to, I think, bring down charges for the fourth case. Ms. Bernard Barnes. And now they're also taking a look at the killings in Atlantic City in 2006. two killings in Manorville, where the remainder of the bodies were found in Gilgo Beach. So that gets us to 6, and 4 more bodies that have been found on Gilgo Beach. So this investigation is going to go on for some time, and just exactly how many murders this what was he described as, ogre, committed, we'll find out. Israel is having a terrible riot. There's just a brief picture, Ted, of yesterday. My friend Bibi Netanyahu having to deal both with illness and this. And I do think you should realize what's at stake here, because, of course, the liberal press has it all wrong, and Biden's on the wrong side, of course. And what's he doing on any side is completely ridiculous. This guy hates Israel. He hates Israel because it's a conservative government. He hates Israel because Israel is nationalistic, and he wants us to be no more America, just part of America's a bad country because we're systemically racist, Biden tells us. Biden is one of the people who attacks us all the time. Well, he's telling Israel they shouldn't reform their judiciary. Now, I wish Biden would stay out of anything legal, since he really failed out of law school. He cheated his way through. He failed out of the first year. He wrote a paper to come back. He plagiarized 5 pages in the paper. The dean let him in anyway with another plagiarized paper. He repeated that when he was running for president, got caught, and got thrown out of the presidential election, and was declared by 2 major American journalists as his career was finished. Oh, wouldn't have been so good if it was. A lot of people would be alive today if his career was finished then. But he's interfering in this election. Let me just tell you one of the powers that the Israeli court has, and you'll understand why it has to be reformed. The Israeli court can reverse any Israeli law or action that it deems unreasonable. Not unconstitutional, unreasonable. That's not a court. That's an overseer. A court decides cases that come before it. We call it cases of controversies, where people have a dispute. And then it's from that dispute that the law gets interpreted. And then in America, it has the final say on whether it's constitutional. But it can't come along and just say, President Biden, you just committed $20 billion to Ukraine. That's not reasonable. Stop. Or legislature, you just provided more money for Social Security. That's not reasonable. Or you're not providing enough money. That's not reasonable. That's what they do. They virtually micromanage. And so it is government by judicial dictate, which has to be stopped to modernize Israel. And what has happened is these judges have arrogantly, left-wing judges have arrogantly taken over because they oppose the Netanyahu moderate government. So the position taken by Netanyahu is quite a bit more reasonable than the left-wing press gives him credit for. And of course, Biden has no idea what's going on, and he's interfering. Well, stay the hell out, Biden, just like Israel should stay out of our judicial affairs.
Well, that's right, Mayor. Are you ready for a phone call?
I am.
Okay. Mayor, we have Joe from Bloomfield on the line. Joe, you're on with the mayor.
Hi.
Joe, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I was just wondering, given all this corruption with Joe Biden and everything, yeah, I could hear you. How do we get this before a judge like they did in Watergate, Judge Sirica, and this could get worked out?
That's a very good question, Joe, because they are in control of the Justice Department. And because the Justice Department is run by a political puppet of Joe Biden, who's proven that over and over again, we are not able to. The only access to the courts for something like that would be through the Justice Department. And the Justice Department is now a corrupt creature of the Biden administration. I mean, all you have to do is to look at the way Jack Smith is operating, and you can see that. And if he files another indictment, I would say he could virtually destroy the Justice Department, destroy the credibility of it. I mean, how many indictments do they need to convince us that this is not about the fair application of the law, but it's about political interference in an election? Now, this has never happened before in America. Don't you think they're piling on a little? I don't know if we lost him.
So
I think we lost him.
We've lost Joe. We're getting ready for our next call, Mayor.
Okay.
Well, Mayor, as we talk tonight, of course, the presidential campaign. Maybe we'll touch upon that after our next call. Okay. Yeah. So.
Okay, Mayor, we have Pete from, I believe, Ellenville, Pennsylvania. Pete, you're on the phone with the mayor.
Hello, Pete.
Allentown or Allenville?
Allentown.
Allentown. Sorry about that.
Of
Sorry
course,
about
right
that.
near
Couldn't hear
Bethlehem,
you.
right?
Sorry about that.
Not a problem. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You know, I'm glad to hear you have Millie on earlier. I love her work.
Oh,
And
you
you know
do.
what? I
You do
think-
know Millie.
I'm
Isn't Millie
sorry,
terrific? She's still here. She can hear you.
Oh, hi, Millie. How are you? Anyway,
Come here, Millie. Go ahead. What's the question?
well, you know, I think it's important that you have people like Millie fighting for the truth and for, you know, having an outlet where people can express themselves freely without government censorship. Because, you know, a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, this stuff's a conspiracy theory. This stuff's not true. And you look into it, and a lot of it has some element of truth to it.
You know, I would have said
So
that a
you know
few
what?
years ago. I think Millie would have too.
You know,
Right.
right. There's a lot of conspiracies that end up being true, like Rudy marrying and having sex with his cousin.
That wasn't a conspiracy. That was consensual.
Every once in a while, one of these guys gets
it's
through.
okay. It's okay.
It's very rare, though. We're very good at screening these calls.
These people are hilarious.
Yeah.
Rudy, do you see all the people in the chat?
Yeah, when we're watching,
Yes.
we're now watching the app. The app, call it an app. It's also an app. You can go on the App Store, your App Store, Android and iPhone, right?
Right now, it's in the Apple App Store. Soon, in like a week or so, it should be launched in the.
Okay, well, so I have Apple, so I was able to get it.
Today.
I mean, I did get a little help from the boss here, but who runs the place, but it was easy. All you do is put in just put in QUX. That's it, QUX, and there it comes right up. Boom, you hit it. You got it, and now you can watch it on your cell phone.
Right.
I assume I can do the same thing with my iPad.
That's right.
Right.
Well, Mayor, we have someone else on the phone who we know is a good friend of yours, Rob from Sea Caucus. Rob, how you doing, Rob?
Have we brought Rob in as a pinch hitter or a relief pitcher?
Thank you for patching me in, Mike. Hi, Rudy. How are you?
Now pitching. What's up, Rob?
Well, Millie, thank you for filling a void, a very significant void. I when OAN was dropped by my current provider, which is Verizon Fios, I had already made a decision. I kept my ear to the ground to wait for an alternative to that that problem. Thank you for filling the void. I will definitely be purchasing that service. I'm about to switch. Another company came into my building that provides internet service. They call themselves honest.net, www.honest.net. They provide the internet service, and then you guys are going to provide the TV service. I think it's a great supplement for what I have currently.
Well, that's terrific. That's terrific. And You don't have to worry about all the spying they do.
Right.
And
right.
it really is spying because people don't know about it. Whenever I get a choice of, can I follow you or not? I always say no, but they follow you anyway.
Right. And so you don't have to worry about being spied on, being censored. You can get OAN on there. You can get all your favorite content. I mean, and it's way cheaper to get your cable TV on QX.
That's right. That's right. Well, Mayor,
and we're watching it right now, right? I mean, we're watching ourselves right there.
Yeah, we're watching the live chat on QX because there's a bunch of QX users in there doing the live chat. So it's kind of like social media mixed with TV. It's interesting.
Right. You know that.
Right.
That's right at the bottom there, or on the side?
Yeah, on the side. You see?
Oh yeah.
Maybe Ted could show him. I don't know.
Yeah, I see it, Lady Sarah. Better.
Yep.
We're also going to bring up our own chat here.
That's right. Anyone have sound? Is anybody missing sound?
Oh, that's typical in most chats, right?
Yeah.
You always have people saying, "Oh, I can't. Oh, I can hear."
And then we added our own, and then we have our own on-screen chat as well that we've just put on
There's
there.
a call in. Copy QUX is the best.
Yep.
Finally got keyboard.
Someone said you are coming through clear, Mr. Mayor.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Mayor, we're running into soccer time now. I think we're done with phone calls for the night. So would you like to close out the show or keep going?
Well, we should let all the QUX people know what soccer time is. We do.
That's right. That's right.
We go a little extra over. We never say how much because I am very angry at soccer because when they do that overtime stuff, they never tell you how much.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm assuming that unlike where I grew up in Brooklyn, the umpires and referees are honest in soccer. But I mean, in Brooklyn, somebody slip them a little money and they give the other team, more time. So you can't have that going on.
Right.
That's right.
You can't have that.
Well, I want to thank Millie very, very much. And next time we'll have Gavin on too, who's her partner. And together, first of all, I want to congratulate them for having the guts to do this. This is a big project. It's a difficult project. You really have it off the ground now, but it's gonna. I mean, this can even grow much beyond this, and it will.
We're taking on big tech, which is like Goliath, and we might be small right now, like David, but God can allow us to accomplish great things. And I know if the people get behind this and support it, then we can have a new tech solution out there that competes with Apple and Google Android that allows for you to have privacy and to not ever have to worry about being censored again. So,
well, I guess we'll end with Speaker McCarthy has listed a red line for possible impeachment proceedings in an interview tonight, and what I said is if they withhold information, the impeachment inquiry allows Congress to have the apex of power to get all the information they need. So I think if they continue to withhold information, they're at the point where they're going to move to impeachment. They certainly have the evidence for it. There's more than enough probable cause. Well, were he not a president who cannot be indicted while you're in office, there's overwhelming probable cause to indict him for any number of crimes, the primary one of which is bribery. But then when you spread it out over 30 years, it's a natural racketeering case. And the conversation that's at the core of it is the conversation in December of 2018. Again, I remind you of it. It's Hunter to his daughter, email. It says, for 30 years, I have paid all of the expenses of the family. And even with that, I have to kick back half of my income to Pop for 30 years. So when you combine that with all the different transactions, 27, 28, 29, involving foreign governments, where they were looking for the influence of a senator or a vice president, and half the money was going to the senator or vice president, there's not much of a step that you have to make to charge bribery. That's easy. And there's not much of a step that you have to get past to show that it was the business of crime. It was an ongoing criminal enterprise. That's what racketeering is, an ongoing criminal enterprise.
right.
It could even be 3 years. This was 30 years. This is a quintessential racketeering case. And if he gets away with it, American justice will never really recover.
It won't. I mean, our rule of law has been completely compromised by these corrupt career politicians that have basically taken control. And it seems like they are willing to try to go after Trump, go after you, go after anyone that they'll go after me, right? They'll go after anyone that's either exposing them or trying to hold them accountable for the crimes that they've committed. And it's horrific what they're doing, going after you and going after Trump and others. But the reality is the DOJ, the FBI, I mean, our justice system has been so far compromised. And that's why you titled the video, how much this cancer has metastasized inside our government. So that's why we're in such a tough situation right now of how do we get these people to be held accountable criminally when the system has been wrought with corruption.
Yeah, I mean, the only way we can do it is we have to move toward impeachment and hope that a hero Democrat emerges that puts the country ahead of greed, money, power, corruption, and his party. Okay, or hers. Thank you. Thank you, Millie. Thank you very much, Ted.
Yes.
Mike.
Of course, Mayor, anytime.
Great guys. I think we had a great show tonight.
We're okay. You can be honest.
Yeah, we're all right. We're all right.
What does everybody think I'm here? Oh, they're cheering for you. They're cheering. That's one of the things you can get out of QUX. You can hear back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mayor, hopefully when I leave your apartment, I'll get mugged.
There's a young lady waiting outside. There's a young lady waiting outside to mug you. She said it won't hurt.
That's funny. That's funny. Thank you,
God bless America. We'll see you tomorrow night. Our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it.